going on, SML? SML Countdown is back. A few technical difficulties, but we're here. What's going on, Straw? AJ, you guys ready to get started with this new season? First countdown of the season.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Let's do it. Glad to be back.
all right. Then let's jump right into it. There's been a lot of talk about NCAA and that's coming out in July. That's the first time it's been out since what 2014. So it's definitely going to be new for the SML, seeing who plays that. What kind of impact do you think it's going to have, AJ?
As far as on the SML, I think the train will keep rolling. I don't think it's going to have a super major impact as far as like activity or anything like that. But I don't think a ton of the guys in here are big college football fans. There's maybe a handful of us. I think everybody's going to I think the hype's going to get everybody playing it though for at least a little bit. So we'll see how the game goes. I think in a perfect world, down the road, maybe a couple of years, they find a way to integrate the games. I think that's in the best interest of EA and its player base. But that's my expectations for it. I think it's going to be just a fun break. Um, and what I'm hoping is somebody in SML or Prime or whoever can model a league from the SML into NCAA. In which case that would, I think, interest everybody in here.
Yeah, I 100% plan on playing in some type of NCAA league. Whether Prime runs it or if I have to, I'll do one because that sounds like a lot of fun. Straw, I hear you probably are interested in college football, right? I mean, probably wishing that this NIL stuff was going on maybe a few years ago. But what are your thoughts on the NCAA game and how it may impact the SML?
So, yeah, what I think about the NCAA game. There's already been a lot of people talking in chat about it. Some of the things that people have said, the praise of NCAA is starting to feel too good. Did they pay everyone for these praises? Somebody said, after I win 4 Zimbardis this cycle, I'm retiring to focus on NCAA. Somebody else said, I didn't play NCAA a lot, but I like how they have wear and tear on the abilities. And there's even people already counting down NCAA. So I think if NCAA plays a lot better than Madden, like if it's just light years in terms of gameplay and Madden is still lagging behind, I think that might impact even more people's like morale in the game, morale to, get through cycles. They have to, they can't bring NCAA back and make it bad. I mean, we've been waiting for it for so long, but now Madden has to keep up with that. That's where I think it'd be the biggest impact if NCAA like is a hit and Madden and EA let us down on that front.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, they've got to keep up with NCAA. You can't have NCAA come out and just blow your game out of the water. So, all right. So sort of not really along the same lines, but talking about other games, other game modes. We had the noobs experiment. It didn't last very long, but it brings something up. Do you care if someone plays Mutt? I know a lot of guys don't like the Mutt players, but does it really matter to you, Straw?
I mm,
I should
that's
have
a
prefaced this by saying, "Do you play Mutt?" Just in case one of you one of
I
you
don't
actually
play
does.
mutt.
But
I,
uh,
I, I absolutely don't play mutt. It just seems like it's not a fun way to play. I will say I take enjoyment out of like finding ways to beat people who have found tried to find all the broken ways to play the game. So it doesn't truly bother me, but it's just like you're not someone I want to like always consistently be playing if you're playing mutt style. And I feel like if you go and play mutt, the tendencies tend to kind of cross over
yeah,
sometimes. So I mean, I don't necessarily mind it as long as you don't like bring that style over to the environment that we've created because it could be pretty shitty.
okay. What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, kind of along the same line. I don't really care if somebody plays Mutt. In fact, I would bet some of the guys in SML probably secretly play Mutt. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it you know it's it's an arcade style. I could see where somebody might enjoy that type of thing, but um, it's one thing to play the same style in our league as you do in any other kind of game mode in Madden. It's another thing to like flip a switch to where like, okay, well, let me put my my MUT goggles on and start doing all the cheesy stuff that everybody else
Yeah.
does. I mean, the gameplay in MUT and head to head is a cesspool.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can learn to stop some of the cheesy stuff by just playing a game for sure. I know I usually jump in head to heads early in the cycle just to kind of get a feel for the game, and it's kind of sickening. It makes you not even want to play the game anymore. But I don't know. Like I said, if you play it fine and you're able to, in your game, your gameplay is the same across every game mode, that's fine. But there's one thing I wouldn't do in a sim league is promote it and say that you're openly doing it and doing tournaments and stuff. Regardless of what anybody says, optics do matter.
Yeah.
And y'all know how people roll with narratives in the SML.
So you brought up something I didn't even think about, but it's really a good point and kind of along the same lines. You said you've hopped in head to head. What's really the difference between the lobby games and MUT games? I mean, really, you're probably going to find a lot of the same gameplay, other than they can't pick their abilities.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really played MUD, but I understand the concept of it. I mean, you build your team. I guess it's kind of similar, like MLB The Show. It's just you can't
Yeah,
really
it is.
cheese, baseball
Yeah.
games. So, um, where you just got a bunch of really good players and it's customizable, I guess, and all that. I think people kind of dig into that. But as far as I don't know the differences, but I would imagine it's probably the same. I think it's just an arcade style. Everybody's
Yeah.
just doing the same stuff that works, and I, I don't know. There's probably not a difference. I've loaded up a head to head, and the guy ran the same exact play over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's, I'd imagine it's much of the same.
Yep. Sometimes I feel like that's when I load up games in the SML sometimes. So it's not that much of a difference. Uh, but speaking of gameplay, so what's your pet peeve? Everybody's got one. What's your pet peeve, AJ?
Okay, so this has happened to me a few times this cycle, but I don't like, everybody in the SML has got a mutual respect for each other, right? For the most part, we play in a sim league. If you see a certain play, you're probably not going to see it the very next play again. Okay, well, for instance, like an RPO. RPOs are really good. That's why everybody runs them, and they're totally fine in moderation. But you run one, you burn me, you gain 30 yards on a bubble, fine. Okay. The very next play, guess what? Because I respect you and I respect our rules, I'm not looking for another RPO. I don't care if the formation looks like an RPO, if there's a slot guy or anything. I'm not looking for it. But if you run another freaking RPO after you just gained 30 yards on a stupid bubble because they're hard to defend in general, just go play Mutt, like we are just talking about, because it's ridiculous. Like it's no different than running, the same broken play over and over again in head to head.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, like I swear there's some guys in this league that, 150 yards of their passing are from bubble screens. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep, there are. How about
So
you,
that's my
Straw? What's
peeve.
your gameplay pet peeve?
You know, I okay. To be fair, and this has come from a lot, and I say a lot of years of getting my head beat in Madden by my dad. He used to kick my butt in Madden time after time after time, and then I've played in a lot of leagues with a, a lot of awful people in terms of gameplay. And so I'll say overall, I don't really have a big pet peeve with gameplay. Like you know, there's things people do, and especially when people are trying to we're getting down to the wire and they're trying to win. Like, all right, I think ultimately, most people that I've played and that I play, have a lot of respect and play really, really great games. And so I think for me, if I was gonna choose a pet peeve, it's more of like, and we talked about this before, it's more of Madden being Madden.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the stuff where even if it's not against me, like somebody has a wide open guy and with a 99 overall QB and he just like completely sails it or something. I'm like, dang, especially, to game winning drive or something. I'm like, don't leave it up to Madden. Like let us see what would have happened. So, that I'd say that's my pet peeve. I don't have any like real gameplay pet peeves.
See, I would have thought it would have been like 65-yard quarterback draws to win the game or something, and that
That
would have killed me.
all of my players were like
Yeah, that would have been my
I would
pick
have
for
Uh,
that.
never, I'd never in a million years expected that play. So that was like kudos.
Now, to be fair, I was planning to go to overtime. So, and then, well, obviously, what happened happened. All right, so we'll stick with you then. How do you handle sore losers? Stuff like salty DMs, or we saw kind of some messages after the Super Bowl in chat. How do you handle someone like that when you beat them?
Yeah. I think for me, because especially if like let's say it was one of those things where Madden screwed somebody over, they're pissed, like especially when it's those situations. For me personally, I just try to talk to like what happened, like dang man, yeah, that really sucked. You should have had that. Like because I do. I genuinely hate when Madden takes the game away, even though sometimes it's football, right? Like things happen
Mm-hmm.
in real life like that with football. But I just speak to that stuff, like yeah, yeah. If you would have hit that, that might have been a different game, and we might have been in a different situation, and then who knows? So that's usually how I handle it, because I'm not gonna get into the back and forths and all
Yeah.
of that, and who knows what could have happened. Like it's always a couple of plays that could have changed the tide of the whole game. So
It's
that's
true.
usually me. I like talking towards what happened, and I think people usually feel better once you talk about it too.
Yeah. AJ, I know your immediate way to handle them is usually to boot them, especially if they were the in the primary, But let's say it happens in SML, then what do you do then?
uh, I try depending on what it is. Like if Straw's saying if it's like talking about a play that was just wacky and you're like, man, I got bailed, that was a PI, but whatever, like that's one thing. I'll probably agree with him, be like, yeah, you got robbed, and I'm like, oh, whatever, I got my win, I don't care. But I think everybody's in the same boat there. If it's kind of toxic, I try not to divulge in it at all because there's no matter what, like you're not reasoning with this person that's angry. Like you're not going to tell them anything they want to hear, really, for that matter. So you maybe just let them cool off a little bit. Um, I try to I try to lose with the same grace that I win, and I think other people should probably uh, follow suit somewhat. But we've all been there where we're just really salty about something, and and want to say our 2 cents. That's kind of the way if it's something I feel is going to be kind of toxic, I try not to even open the dialogue because I'll just leave it at GG, and then the next morning we'll move on. So.
All right. So this last topic, talking about maybe toxic things. What do you think about guys giving guys force wins? We've seen Dump last season 6 force wins. This season, I guarantee he's gonna have at least 2, because the Ravens won't play him. So, what do you guys think about these guys giving out force wins? Just regardless of your schedule, it's just if I see this guy on my schedule, it's a force win. AJ, we'll start with you.
I don't like it. I don't care what the reasoning is. I just don't like it. I think I don't think anybody's. I think there's some narratives here about giving out force wins to players. Players don't want to play, whatever. Everybody's got somebody they don't want to play in this league. A lot of people's gameplay might bother other people. I mean, nobody's gameplay is perfect. Um, Play the game. Either use that as motivation to beat them, or just take your lumps and move on. Personally, I just play the game. If you're giving them a forced win because you're busy, that's one thing. But if you're doing it just because you don't want to play said person, then I don't think I don't think that's a good look for the SML personally.
All right, what do you think, Straw?
Yeah, I gotta agree with AJ. I don't like it. And mainly because like I mean, especially this cycle, we've talked about it all show long. But there's so much parity. And all it takes is like one shot to get to the playoffs and go on a miracle run, and somebody giving off force wins or whatever the case is. It just makes sometimes games come down to one win, one loss. Who had the stronger this schedule XYZ, and so I just give it a shot, go in, like see what happens. We just talked about it. Sometimes Madden is on your side and plays to your favor. Your guys are shedding blocks, getting strip sacks. You never know. So play the game, and let's see where the chips fall. Giving away a forced win, it's like, why is everybody else,
Yeah.
even playing? So I think, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Gilbert. He's just got his head pounded in 51 times in a row, and he still goes out there and plays. If anybody has a reason to not play the game, it'd be Gilbert, and he still goes out there every week. Um, I can probably count on one hand the number of times he's given a force win this cycle,
Yeah.
and even less times he's probably won a game. So, um, it's tough to see him do that, and then other guys just throw up their hands and I'm not playing this guy, or I'm not playing because I'm eliminated, or whatever. But all right, so let's turn this around to more of a positive, and let's take a look at these top plays since our last one. And I'll start with mine. And I actually went with Gilbert. Maybe not the fanciest play, not the best play, but that play was for the win. 40-something seconds left. He throws a pass here to Pickens, and he gets his first win in something like 3 seasons, 51 games, I think Meats had the count at. So for me, that's the top play, seeing Gilbert get his win and then get it at the last second like that on a big play. Straw, how about you?
Yeah, we're gonna keep up with the theme with game-winning catches, and right here, KJ, wide press, star means nothing, burnt to the house for a touchdown. What else can you say? It's like we're seeing identical plays between you and Gilbert there.
Yeah, not gonna lie, this is probably my early favorite. So this one would get my vote. But AJ, what's your play?
I like to pick the circus plays, and I think this is a perfect example of just that. KP takes a sack. Looks like one animation started, and then another player came in and gave him a forced fumble / shuffle pass or whatever that was. But ridiculous play, ends in 6 points for Torque. That's one of those you can really only laugh off because it's just such a stupid animation. But I don't know. I don't know if he tried to pitch it or what, or if that was just Madden being Madden.
Yeah, I've seen kind of both ways. I think we saw KP actually not too long ago have an offensive lineman just scoop one with one hand and take off running. So some weird things happen
Yeah.
when the ball hits the ground down there. I think it may have been you and me played a game, or maybe I played someone else in primer, but there was some weird fumbles. So maybe something happened to the game. But looks like those are our top 3 plays. So you guys can vote on the plays in the comments. But we were looking, and there's not a lot of SML Insanity plays to choose from. So make sure you guys post your plays in that SML Insanity so we can pick our top plays from the time period between shows. And then we're going to take a break from Name the OC this week, and we're going to go to another episode of The Last Straw. So whenever you're ready, Straw.
All right, so I'll get us set up here, and we're getting down to the end of the cycle, and we've seen a lot of parity, a lot of different matchups in the Super Bowl, a lot of Super Bowl winners, but there are some guys that I think are looking and seeing the clock ticking on being able to go and get a Simbardi. And so I wanted to give a list of the top 5 teams that I think have the most pressure on right now to go and win one. And so we will start with number 5.
All right, here we go.
So number 5, I'm going to go with Patriots and Bean. AFC is really, really tough. But when you look through, I think Bean is the last one in the AFC that we're looking at to say, can you squeeze one out? The young cats are coming and taking over. Number 4, we're going with Cowboys Meat. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's lost at the Super Bowl. And he has a division rival who has won a Super Bowl. And so I think we're all looking at Meats and saying, can you win it down the stretch? At number 3, we've got the Rams. The Rams started off going to the Super Bowl and have been getting bounced out of the playoffs ever since. I think everybody's looking at the Rams and saying, can you win the full thing? Number 2, we are going with Matt. Matt likes to cosplay in chat as a bad Madden player, but Matt knows he's an elite player. He's won the division multiple times, and he's one of the last top elite guys that we're looking without a ring. And that leaves us at number 1 with Bears and Bomber. He has gone season after season, kicking butt in the regular season, and just needs to put it together in the postseason. And so that, we got a lot to prove. We got a point to prove with these guys. Let's see if one of these teams can pull off a Simbardi.
All right. So it was a good last straw, minus that last part at the end. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll have another one hopefully soon. You guys make sure you put those highlights in the SML Insanity so we have a little more to pull from. Otherwise, I'll just keep picking my own plays. That's fine. Thanks for watching, guys.